Anurag sir, tell me something. Architecture itself is a very niche area in India, right?
Yeah.
And there's always a confusion around civil engineers and architecture, and people sometimes look at both together as synonyms. So, how different is what you're doing from the real estate industry?
Uh, the first thing I would like to answer that about architecture and civil engineering.
Right.
These are two very basic different streams in construction, and there is a very clear guideline which demarcates their uh, I'm sorry. It clearly demarcates of what they want, matlab what they have to do in the while they are designing the building, right?
Correct. Correct.
While in the building process, there is a very clear demarcation between what an architect does and what a civil engineer does.
Correct.
There is a very clear demarcation. The demarcation is the architect is the concept and the design brain behind the building,
Right.
right?
Right.
And the civil engineer is the executor, right? So the whole evolution of the building is done by an architect, and the execution is done by the civil engineer
Right.
as per the kind of concept that has been created by an architect. So there is a very clear guideline or a demarcation that is there in a building process, where the architect's role and where is the civil engineer's role. But what has happened is we have created gray areas. Architects have jumped into the civil engineering areas, and the civil engineers have jumped into the architects areas, right? So this makes it very complicated in this country. In India, we don't know who is actually the architect. So most of the architects are called engineers,
Correct.
because most of the architects are called engineers. When you go to the site, they generally call you as engineers ki engineer saab aa gaye. They will never call you architect, because architects spelling architect is so difficult for कोई architect बुलाता है, कोई architect बुलाता है, कोई architect बुलाता है. तो ये जो confusion है, ये because क्योंकि civil engineers numbers in India is far more than what architects numbers are in this country. So what happens is most of the engineers are actually practicing as architects who design the building and build the building for them. So everybody is understanding architects as engineers, but architecture is basically a design oriented field, while civil engineering is a purely engineering field. There is no design involved in civil engineering, but architecture is it is mother of all arts. Why we call it mother of all arts is it's because it encompasses all kind of sciences in architecture. All kind of sciences in architecture, because you have to think about lighting, you have to think about plumbing, you have to think about structures, you have to think about ventilation, you have to think about aesthetics, you have to think about psychology, you have to think about every damn subject that is connected to human life. You have to think about while you are designing a building. So architecture,
Right.
it's a very vast stream which connects art, psychology, science, political, everything into it. So it is it is altogether a different stream from engineering. Civil engineering is an engineering field, while architecture is an art field.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. Thank you. I think honestly, there were some learnings for me also there. Though I'm an engineer
yeah.
myself, I'm often there is that confusion, like you so well explained. So, so today, do you think architects are not given as much importance in India, especially? I know outside, I know architects are critical in construction of any building,
Yeah. Without
uh,
them,
but
it never happens in any developed countries.
exactly.
Yeah.
So in India, do you think architects get their respect the way they should be?
I think not in India. There are areas, if you go to west or if you go to south, some areas, yes. But most of the country, the architects do not get the kind of image, reputation, or the space they require while in being in the building construction industry. And that is because there is so much of traditional thought process that is there in the country that they do not want to break off the mindset. The mindsets they do not want to break off. So there is a contractor who's an old contractor and he has been building for years and years, and they just want to follow his advice of how the building has to build. They do
Right.
not want to innovate. They do not want to get on to the next level of construction technology and techniques, and that is why we see still that वो जो कन्नी वसूली है, आज भी हम वही सीमेंट बना रहे हैं, वही तसला इस्तेमाल कर रहे हैं, वही कन्नी, मतलब हम उससे ब्रेक ऑफ ही नहीं हो पा रहे हैं.
Right.
And that is the reason that the construction or the buildings का जो फॉर्मेट हमको देखना चाहिए था इस सेंचुरी में, वो हम हिंदुस्तान में नहीं देख पा रहे हैं. हो सकता है कि बड़े मेट्रोपॉल्स में, बड़ी बिल्डिंग्स में हम देख पा रहे हैं, बट एट दी मिड लेवल ना, मतलब जो एक जनरल लेवल है, उसमें हम वो इनोवेशन या कोई भी चीज नहीं देख पाते हैं. बहुत ही, मतलब जो 100 साल पहले कंस्ट्रक्शन हो रहा था वही आज आपको देखने को मिलेगा अगर आप मिड सेगमेंट में देखेंगे. मैं हायर सेगमेंट की बात इसलिए नहीं करना चाहता हूँ. हायर सेगमेंट में बिकॉज मेच्योरिटी लेवल, द काइंड ऑफ एजुकेशन, द काइंड ऑफ एक्सपोजर इंक्रीजेस, बट दैट इज जस्ट वन, मतलब 2 to 5% of the whole gamut. But there is 90% of the gamut which is in the middle sector, which is not actually changing, and they do not want to break off that mindset.
Right. Right. So when we talk about, and it's interesting that you mentioned about the traditional building techniques used by Indians, especially in India. Are there any alternative techniques beyond traditional construction practices, Anurag, that people could perhaps use in India, or some of them are already using, you think?
There is so much of new technology that is coming in, and it is so beneficial, so less time consuming, less energy consuming, less like, it is much more eco friendly, and it is very quick. But that mindset of brick and mortar, matlab, I have been fighting it against so many forums, even with architects, matlab, not, I'm not talking about the general people, I'm talking about the professionals, I'm talking about the educated people who are not even able to get out of that mindset that they can break off from that brick mortar concept na.
Right.
Anybody who thinks about making a building thinks in making it in a brick and a mortar concept, and the kind of longevity they expect is like 100 years and 200 years. I don't think in the present context that kind of longevity actually exists for anything now,
Right.
right? So there is a need, and the longevity of these kind of formats is equivalent to what you are building in concrete and brick. Matlab, there is no difference between the longevity, but that mindset that if you are going to build like this, it is not going to last. That mindset does not changes in India,
Right.
and it is very difficult. Most I have traveled like in Southeast Asia, I've traveled in Africa, I've traveled in Europe, America, where I've seen a lot of experimentation in these prefab kind of technologies have been done, and it has been adopted very successfully.
Right.
But I haven't seen that happening in our country. Hmm. Which is much more eco-friendly. Because
Right.
if you see the conventional construction, which people do not understand because of the sensitivities we have. For example, if you do a conventional construction of 2000 square feet, you approximately consume 10 lakh liters of water while you are doing that construction. Right. But when you adopt these kind of prefab technologies where it is a dry construction, and you are not even using a liter of water in making this. When we go out, we buy a bottle of water, and that bottle of water is 20 rupees a liter.
Right.
But in our conventional construction mechanism, there is no accounting mechanism where we calculate the cost of the water. We only because water is free in our country. We just dig the borehole, take out the water, and consume as much as we want. There is no metering system. There is no, so that kind of cost application is not actually applicable in our country, and we think that water is free and our construction is costing so less. but there is so much value to water. We have to value that water. If we account that water into a construction process, we will understand what is the cost of construction that we are actually doing. And when we compare it with any kind of a prefab model, we will see it at a much cheaper rate than what we are doing as a conventional construction. But there we need to have some sensitization about the environment and about the water.
For me, as a normal person, it kind of, and I mean no offenses, Anurag, but it kind of feels to me that on one side you're talking about water conservation, right? And wood style, you're a pioneer and an evangelist for wooden houses in India, right? But wood is also a natural resource, right? It probably takes a lot of trees to be cut for somebody to have a wooden house. So while we are saving water, aren't we losing some trees in India, you think, Anurag?
You've actually hit the nail in the coffin, right? This is a myth. And this is where the whole process of understanding needs to be generated. Wood is the only material. If you see, I will talk about global warming here, because
Sure.
global warming is the most important and the most burning issue that we need to discuss about. And it is something which needs to have a proper attention, because if this is not given an attention, we are going to see the extinction of human race in the near future.
Right.
So what global warming is about carbon footprint. And when you discuss about carbon footprint, you will see the construction industry alone accounts for 45% of global carbon footprint,
Wow.
which is right. We do not see construction as a polluting industry. We see automobile as a polluting industry, we see industries as a polluting industry, but we never talk about construction as an activity polluting more than these sectors.
Right.
Construction is polluting, the carbon sequestration is approximately 45%. So we need to understand that while construction, we need to adopt materials which reduce the carbon footprint. Now, when we talk about, there are 4 or 5 materials that we talk about in construction. One is the concrete, the other is the steel, and the third is the wood, right? When you compare these three basic materials, these are the basic three raw materials in which you can do construction,
Right.
right?
Right.
These are three major materials. So if you see concrete and steel, they in total account for almost 10 to 15% of carbon footprint in the complete construction process,
Right.
right?
Right.
And rest, then you have aluminium, then you have other resources, ores, and whichever is used in construction, they are part of this 45%. So if you reduce concrete, and concrete, if you see the life cycle analysis of these three material,
Mhm.
the life cycle analysis will tell you that the carbon footprint of concrete and steel is far, far more. And when you talk about wood, wood is a material which actually absorbs carbon dioxide.
Right.
So it, when you talk about a borderline, the wood carbon sequestration is here, and the other materials is below this zero line, right? So wood as a material is so carbon positive, it's so carbon positive, and we have so much of history about wood and buildings. हमारे पास इतनी बड़ी हिस्ट्री है वुड और बिल्डिंग्स की, मतलब पहले लकड़ी के ही घर हुआ करते थे और लकड़ी में ही घर बनाए जाते थे। आज भी जितने भी डेवलप्ड नेशंस में 90% लोग हैं वो लकड़ी के घरों में रहते हैं, वुड हाउसेस में रहते हैं। उसका रीजन है बिकॉज इट इज सो मच एनवायरमेंट फ्रेंडली। हमारे यहाँ हुआ क्या है कि एक मिथ डेवलप हो गया है, हम अपने पेड़ नहीं बचा पा रहे थे, तो हम एक लॉ लेके आ गए कि पेड़ काटना क्राइम है। पेड़
Right.
उगाना और पेड़ काटना कभी भी क्राइम नहीं हो सकता है, क्योंकि वुड का एक नेचर है, एवरीथिंग हैज अ पर्पस ऑन दिस अर्थ ना, चाहे वो
Right.
एनिमल हो चाहे वो प्लांट हो। आप आज वेजिटेबल उगाते हैं, उसे काट के खाते हैं ना, आज आप पेड़ उगाते हैं तो पेड़ का एक पर्पस है, पेड़ का पर्पस है कि वो उगे, उसको काटा जाए, उसका चीज बनाई जाए, उसको यूज किया जाए और एक नया पेड़ उगाया जाए. So there is a purpose of a tree. Purpose of a tree is to grow, to give oxygen, to absorb carbon dioxide, and then be utilized into some product line. Because the moment when you cut a tree, it has absorbed carbon dioxide. That carbon dioxide gets retained when you make a product. तो जब आप पेड़ को काट के फॉरेस्ट से एक अर्बन मॉडल में लेके आते हैं तो उसका कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड सिक्वेस्ट्रेशन जो है वो उसके अंदर एब्जॉर्ब्ड है, वो रिलीज नहीं होता है, और उसकी जगह आप नया पेड़ लगा देते हैं. तो आप क्या है कि एक पेड़ को काट के दूसरे पेड़ को आप स्पेस देते हैं उस कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड सिक्वेस्ट्रेशन के लिए, और वो कार्बन बैंक आपके अर्बन मॉडल में चला जाता है और फॉरेस्ट मॉडल में एक नया कार्बन बैंक शुरू हो जाता है.
बट
तो
ये
ये
टाइम भी तो बहुत लगता है ना सर, क्योंकि एक पेड़ अगर काटने लायक बनती है तो दैट यूजुअली टेक्स अबाउट 10 years 15 years एटलीस्ट. तो एक बैलेंस मेंटेन करना साइकिल.
sustainable model is, this is what the sustainable model is. When you grow trees, when you cut and grow them again, and when you create this cycle ना, आप जितने लगा रहे हैं और आप जितने काट रहे हैं उसमें एक आपको एक मैथमेटिकल बैलेंस बनाना पड़ेगा, राइट? आप 5 लगा रहे हैं और एक काट रहे हैं, मतलब वो मैथमेटिकल बैलेंस आपको बनाना पड़ेगा कि आप आपके 5 पेड़ लग रहे हैं और आप एक काट रहे हैं, तो हर साल वो 5 पेड़ ग्रो कर रहे हैं और आप एक ही काट रहे हैं ना, you will have that increasing forest cover. This is happening in Europe, this is happening in Canada, this is happening in Australia, this is happening in New Zealand, this is happening everywhere, because they have created an industry out of this forestry. What they have done is they've created an industry out of that forestry, besides not doing the deforestation. They are increasing their forest cover and they've created the industry. So it is important that we understand that model of sustainable forestry. We should grow trees. What is happening in India, this is a very big thing. What is happening, that because there is a law that cutting trees are crime, if you have a land of 1 acre, if I ask you that will you like to grow trees in your 1 acre, will you grow it?
I mean, I would love to, but usually people will love to. Yes.
People who will not have this commercial mind, who have this commercial mindset, they will never grow tree on their own land, right?
Correct.
They will always go and click pictures of planting trees in others' land. But if you ask them to grow trees in their own land, they will never do it, because there is a legal framework behind it, which actually stops them not to do it. I'm not saying that it is their fault. It is the legal framework fault, which actually do not propagate us to grow trees. I will never grow a tree in front of my own house just because that it is going to occupy my space. And if I want to cut it, I will have so much of legal problems. Right. So I will never like to do that. So it is a very important thing that we need to understand that it is because of this legal framework. हम बात करते हैं पेड़ उगाओ, हम पेड़ उगाओ की बात नहीं करते हैं, हम पेड़ बचाने की बात करते हैं. And 99% of tree plantation thing is only plantation. That's it. You plant the tree and forget about the tree. That's how not plantation can be done. Plantation is an organized activity. It has to be controlled and it has to be nurtured for years and years to make that plant grow into a tree, right? In our kind of fundamental model, it is just plantation. A plantation and a photograph, and that ends the plantation. We say that we've done so much of plantation, but I have been seeing it all my life. I haven't seen that kind of plantation happening where you grow a plant and then it grows into a tree and you actually document it. You document it to the level, you audit it to the level that the tree has grown to a certain level where what is has been your objective, right? So I think there is a disconnect in this country, and we need to create some kind of awareness value for it. And I'm happy to see that in July 2020, that Ministry of Climate Change and Forestry has come up with a bylaw where they have said that now you can grow trees and use it for the industry. This is a very recent which I think I would like it to be shared with everyone.
Sure. I think that is brilliant because I liked what you said in terms of everybody talks about afforestation or deforestation. Nobody talks about sustainable forestry, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
really like the way you spoke about it, and I'm glad the Indian government is now making moves towards making that possible for pioneers like you who are trying to make a difference in this industry as well, Mr. Khandelwal. So, एक और middle class question, right? So this is coming from the middle class in me.
Yeah.
क्योंकि when we try to get something done at home like woodwork, it is very expensive right now in the cities. So are wooden houses very expensive? Is it only for the rich, or can middle class actually afford it?
Uh, Sir, this is a very typical question that has been asked by me. Uh, but I think we fail to understand the value and the price. There are two things for any product. There is a value and there is a price. We always understand the price, we don't understand the value behind it.
Right.
Right? The value is actually a parameter of lot of other things that surrounds it. Right? When you do a conventional construction, I would like to talk about a comparison between a conventional construction and a wood construction.
Right.
uh, because what happens in conventional construction, you build with brick, mortar and concrete, while in wooden construction you build with wood, or I'm not talking about wood, but I'm talking about a prefab construction here primarily.
Right.
Right? What happens if you compare the time factor? It's a huge time factor difference between the conventional and the prefab. The 2000 square feet house can take up 2 years, and the prefab construction can only take 3 months to 4 months time to get delivered. So there is a huge difference between that time factor. Secondly, when you do a conventional construction, you actually disturb the surrounding areas. Na? So
Right.
much of lorries come, so much of dust, dirt, all these things happening, construction going on, noises, everything happens for 2 years. Agar, in case if you are staying somewhere and next to your house a construction happens, you can understand the kind of problems and the kind of issues that it creates for the surrounding people.
Right.
These prefab constructions are clean construction. They bring in two lorries, matlab wherein in conventional you will bring 100 lorries of material. Here you will bring only two lorries of material, and the complete construction will happen in 3 months' time without disturbing anybody in the surrounding. So you do not disturb the environment. You do not disturb the people around who are staying there. Thirdly, it is very very eco-friendly. It does not consume much water. It does not consume any water actually. Where water is a very important resource that we need to understand standing here today, because it's said that world wars are going to be happen on the issues
Water.
of water.
Yeah.
And I think if you see the latest news, how China and other countries are, how they are trying to control this water issue.
Absolutely.
So water is a very important resource, and in construction it is used uh, like I think it is criminal that the way we use water in construction, right? It's actually criminal the way we use and waste water in construction.
Right.
So I think these are important factors that we need to understand where we draw convention between a conventional and a prefab construction. So if a conventional construction is for 1000 rupees and this is for 1200 rupees, I think this is even much more cheaper than those 1000 rupees, right? There's another factor that I would like to make here, that in conventional construction the cost of the raw material, the cost of material that you get is 40%,
Hmm.
and 60% is the labor component.
Right.
When you do a prefab, it's 90% the material cost and 10% is the labor
Labor
cost,
cost. Okay.
right? So the value that you are getting in that 12,000 rupees, 1200 rupees is much more than in the conventional construction.
Right.
So that valuation, you need to understand the issues of environment, the issues of sustainability, the issues of energy saving and other issues that are related to these different concepts has to be sensitively understood, and then only you will be able to understand which is cheaper and which is not.
Right, right, got that. So in a way, you're saying that the wooden house is more sustainable. So I'm guessing that also takes lesser time to construct, isn't it? Because it's all prefab.
Sir, we've done a house of 1,000 square feet house in 36 hours on
Wow.
site.
36 hours.
Yes.
Wow. I
So
think the
on
least it'll
site,
take is about 6 months if we have to go for a normal construction, right?
sir, we do project. Matlab the moment the person calls us and he says that I want to build a wooden house, we said that we can build a house in 100 days. You finalize it today, and in 100 days, we'll give you a complete house.
So usually wooden houses, people have a myth again that, or maybe that's reality. So you clarify that for all our listeners. Isn't wood expensive to maintain, sir? Maintenance costs wouldn't increase, you say?
Uh, Sir, I've been practicing for 25 years now, and I've done all kind of projects. I've done multi-storied housings, I've done residentials, I've done railway stations, I've done bus stands, I've done all kind of constructions as far as conventional construction is concerned. So my experience in conventional construction is is far more than what my experience in wooden houses is. My
Right,
experience in wooden houses is only 15 years. My experience in conventional construction is 25 years.
right.
And my ratio of doing these projects is almost, if I'm doing 10% of wooden houses, I'm doing 90% of conventional construction.
Right,
So my verdict actually embarks on this experience na,
right.
कि आप ये नहीं कह सकते कि मैं लकड़ी के घर करता हूं, मुझे कन्वेंशनल का आइडिया नहीं है। मुझे कन्वेंशनल का उससे कहीं ज्यादा आइडिया है जितना मुझे वुड का आइडिया है।
Hmm.
इसलिए जो चीज मैं आपसे शेयर करना चाहता हूं कि ये जो मिथ है, ये सब क्या है, ये सब मिथ है सर। ये क्योंकि हमने एक्सपीरियंस नहीं किया है, क्योंकि हमने देखा नहीं है, क्योंकि हमारे सराउंडिंग में ऐसा कुछ एग्जिस्ट नहीं करता है, तो ये माइंड ब्लॉक्स है, ये सारा मिथ है जो हमारे दिमाग में है कि ऐसा होगा, कि लकड़ी का घर होगा, कोई माचिस लेके आएगा, आग लगाएगा और उसमें आग लग जाएगी। आई
Right.
हैव डन 500 projects across India from Gangotri to Chennai in 15 years time, and there's not even a single experience of such a incident
Fire
जिसमें आग
accidents.
लग गई हो,
Huh.
जिसमें आग लग गई हो। अगर ये वुड अगर इन्फ्लेमेबल होता तो अमेरिका और यूरोप में इसमें लोग नहीं रह रहे होते सर।
So is this, so do you process it? Do you process the wood with all of this?
नो सर, इट्स absolutely natural wood. It's only clean dried and seasoned, that's it. It's a natural wood, but it's a myth कि आप ना, मतलब मैं आपको एक छोटा सा एग्जांपल और यहाँ पे कोट करना चाहूंगा कि आप हमारे यहाँ जैसे रिलीजियस सेलिब्रेशंस में जनरली आग को बहुत वो किया जाता है, इम्बाइब किया जाता है, तो हम जनरली आग जलाते हैं। तो हम क्या करते हैं, लकड़ी को तोड़ तोड़ के उसमें डालते हैं, उसके बाद उसमें आग लगाते हैं, उसमें घी डालते हैं, उसमें सब तरीके की इन्फ्लेमेबल चीजें डालते हैं जिससे कि वो लकड़ी बर्न करती रहे,
Correct,
राइट।
correct.
अगर हम कभी भी उसमें एक बड़ा लॉग डाल देते हैं या बड़ा लकड़ी का टुकड़ा डाल देते हैं, इट इज नॉट इजी टू बर्न दैट लॉग,
Right.
it is not easy to burn that log, right? I think that's a very simple understanding that I want to actually connect, ki if there is a large log of wood, it is not going to burn that easily. What happens is, if you have a log of wood and if you burn fire from here, so what happens, it starts charring and it creates a layer of carbon. And
Right.
the moment it creates a layer of carbon to a certain 5 mm or 7 mm and 10 mm, after
Falls off.
that, it is impossible to burn the wood which is behind that 10 mm layer of carbon, right? So that penetration of fire is not going to happen the moment the wood becomes carbon, right?
Correct.
So I would like to quote an example here. There is a stadium in Canada.
Hmm.
It's called Richmond Oval,
Okay.
right? It's a ice hockey stadium and it has a roof of 70 meters.
Right.
70 meters of roof is actually standing on these wooden beams,
Wow.
right? And there is a theory, because if you burn that, uh, what happened in World Trade Center? What happened in World Trade Center when that plane came in, and the building didn't fall because of that impact of the plane.
Right.
It actually fall because the moment that fuel started burning, the metal steel columns and everything started melting.
Right.
And the moment they melt, and if you see, the tower came out like this, right?
Right.
But if you see what happens in case of wood, when wood burns, it does not deform. It does not deform at any temperature. It will burn, but it will not deform. So what happens when you have large sections of wood? They may burn on the surface, but the inner core will be safe even at 2000 degrees centigrade temperature.
Right.
Na?
Right.
It will not combust. So the theory is that even if there is a fire, that roof is not going to collapse, because the fire is just going to burn the surface. The inner core is going to retain, and that inner core will be so strong to retain that load of the roof for much more amount of time, where people can easily evacuate,
Right.
right?
Right.
So it is this is some mental blocks that are there. I am telling you that wood is going to be the next material in the coming century. It is going to be the next material because it is the only eco-friendly material which you can think about, which you can regenerate, which you can regrow, which you
Right.
can actually replenish. You cannot replenish concrete, you cannot replenish steel, which are the two basic materials that you are using in concrete. Wood is the only material which can be an eco-friendly material.
Right.
Across the world, they are making 40 stories and 60 stories building in wood. Trust me. I think most of the people haven't understood this fact that actually this is already happening in our own surroundings,
Right.
right? But it is just our unawareness.
In
Yes.
fact, people pay 3 times, 4 times more the price to go into mountains, stay in an eco-friendly lodge, which
Yeah.
is usually a wooden house, right?
Yes.
And that's more expensive than normal hotels.
Yes.
If you actually traditionally look at tourism as well,
I'm doing a lot of resort projects,
right?
and currently I'm doing a project. It's Ananta Udaipur.
Oh wow, I've heard about that. It's a
Yeah,
beautiful
it
place.
is. Yeah, it is a benchmark of the luxury properties that exist here.
Right.
They already have 250 cottages in their campus, and they host the best of the weddings that happens in India,
Destination weddings, correct. Correct.
destination weddings in India. Now they are looking out for something much more premium than what they already have in concrete, steel, stone, and everything. And now they are choosing wood as a material.
Right.
And what will happen is, I'm sure, if they are priced the normal room at 100 rupees, the wooden house chalet will be priced at 200 rupees.
Correct. Correct. If
Right?
not more, if not more than that, at least
If,
twice.
if not more. So that is the kind of connect that now people have started understanding here. And post corona, there has been this kind of being healthy or well-being and wellness craze that is going across the country, wherein people actually are now looking out for these kind of structures.
Right. Right. I really liked your example. I think uh, this is a suggestion I have for you, Anurag sir. I'm taking some liberty to tell you this.
Sir, sir.
Whenever you decide to retire, right, and take it easy in life, I think you will make a fantastic professor because the way you explain is so nice, so clear. I really loved your Havan example in terms of, and which is so true. We have all these myths saying, "Oh, wood may burn," and every time when we do a Havan at home, we struggle to keep it lit, right?
Yeah,
Whether during Baisakhi, for us it's Sankranti in South India, or Holika, right? When we put big logs, even the fire gets off, but the log is still intact and it's burning for hours.
yes,
Means that gives us time to protect it and save it from further damage.
yes,
So I thought you explained that really, really well. So thank you for that,
yeah,
Anurag sir. So coming back to the reason why we both connected, which is the book Dhool, Dhoop and Dhakka, right? What is the significance of these three words in your life, sir?
Sir, this journey has been uh, like it's been dhool, dhoop, and dhakka. Because without this, I think this journey cannot complete till the time you kind of get that kind. When you're doing anything which is innovative, which has any kind of a fallback
Right.
or any kind of precedent, then it is all about experimentation. And when you are experimenting in India, there is not a very friendly atmosphere for people who would like to experiment or do something out of the thing. uh, in our country it is not a very friendly environment, so it has been actually a very exhilarating uh, journey throughout this, wherein every time all kind of failures, like people have demotivated you, they have not supported you, and this has happened in our journey also,
Right.
as it happens in every journey. But our conviction and our commitment to hold on and believe in ourselves,
Right.
the value of believing in yourself, in what you are doing, was the most important power that brought us from it starts to this point. And I think the kind of honor and the kind of privilege that I've got being featured in this book is tremendous, and it is one of the kind of platforms where we've got this recognition. Because in most of the cases, people do not recognize these kind of achievements while you get, because these are not surrounded around a commercial achievement.
Right.
This is not a commercial achievement. I have not achieved something like 1,000 crores or 5,000. We generally talk about achievement when we talk about in kind of numbers, but these kind of social initiatives where you try and do something socially, make people aware about more sustainable thing, make environment friendly, and these are not these are not big numbers, right? The numbers are not there, but actually if you talk in terms of the kind of value creation that it does for the society, for the people, for everybody on this planet, that is the kind of value creation which is important, and that recognition is so important for people like us, that it gives us so much of more power to do it with with a kind of a bang, right?
Right.
So this kind of achievement, I'm so thankful to Arunji and Deepakji for giving me this honor and considering me that my achievement has been to the level where they can accomplish it. Thank you so much. Hmm.
Thank you, Anurag sir. In fact, I know in my network there are a lot of people who really excited about the idea of having a tree house, or have a farm where they have a little place where they can go and unwind. And I'm sure this episode will let them know that it is possible, it is easy, and it is sustainable, and it is safe. So thank
And
you. Yes, go ahead,
trust
sir.
me, it is not costly.
And it is
Trust
not,
me, it
sorry,
is
the
not
most
costly.
important thing, and it is not expensive. So thank you for adding that. So before I let you go, sir, and I know it's pretty late in the evening as well, any lesson or any advice that you have for entrepreneurs, especially who are trying to get into this field now, sustainable construction practices? What's your message for them, sir?
Sir, I think it's very important that the new generation that is coming up is actually linked they because there are so much of uh, their needs have grown at such a level that numbers become very important for them in deciding anything, right?
Right. Right.
So the moment you talk about numbers, everything goes for a toss.
Right.
Nah? Then there is no consciousness, there is no sensitivities, there is no connection that happens. So in entrepreneurship, it is not about numbers. It is not about numbers. I'll just give you an example. What I'm doing, I'm doing another pilot project where I'm trying to create an eco farm
Right.
where architecture, agriculture, and arts comes together.
Oh, wow.
We are trying to create a sample for people to see, and then maybe we will replicate it. So I just started this post Corona and without a commercial mindset,
Right.
that I am able to do it. And trust me, there is a horde of people who have seen that farm and they are coming up with that I have 10 acres of land, I have 50 acres of land, I have 20 acres of land. Please come and do this for me. I'm willing to invest. Eh, So, what is more important is that passion and that committedness to actually carry your passion into that model, right? The moment you are able to connect that passion into that business model, it automatically goes to a level where numbers will be far more like unthinkable numbers will be there.
Right.
But it is more important that you have that passion. I started the Golden House thing and I had no numbers in my mind.
Right.
And trust me, Tejaji, that this industry is going to be at least 10,000 crore industry in the next 2, 3, 4 years time.
Wow.
Matlab, 2, 3, 4 years time, it is going to cross 10,000 crore value.
Right.
Even if you are part of 1% and 2% of that value, it is far more than what you can think about,
Right.
right?
Right.
So prefab and this kind of construction is the future. It is going to be the future. It is in the coming future.
Right. Right.
In India, it may take another 5 years time for people to understand it, but already it's happening in all the kind of developed nations.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. I think passion with the business model, or passion combined with business model. I love that statement. Anurag ji, thank you for your time. It's a privilege talking to you. Good luck for your new project that you're coming up with, where you're combining arts, farming, and architecture. I love that concept. So all the best, sir. Do well. Hope आप और खूब ज़्यादा तरक्की करें अगले साल. And hopefully a lot more people read your story. I think it is inspiring from the book. So बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tejaji. Thank you so much for giving me this honor. And I'm really thankful for you for giving me this time for doing this interview. Thank you so much.
Thank you sir.